Record. Okay, so we are recording. Gail, thank you so much for coming today. I appreciate it. And for those of you that are going to watch this recording later, I appreciate you all watching this and taking some time out of your schedules. I'm Janelle from the Career Development Center. If you don't know me, I have been here at the university for about I'm starting my 7th year, but I also went to graduate school here. So um, really we wanted to provide parents, and then later on we'll include alumni on these webinars, but we wanted to provide parents an opportunity to see what opportunities and resources we have available for their students. I think as parenting has changed over the years, right? From when I went to college, my mother had absolutely no idea what was happening at college, and she was okay with that. And frankly, I was kind of okay with that too, um, not wanting to have her involved. But that has changed. Those things have evolved. The parents are wanting to be involved, and frankly, students are wanting their parents to be involved as well. So we came up with the idea of just doing some quick webinars, lunchtime webinars, to show parents what's happening out there in terms of what the resources we have to offer, and the availability of things. So Gail, can you just give me a thumbs up that you can see the website that I had on there about the senior etiquette luncheon?
Sorry, yes, I could not figure out the thumbs up, but yes, I can see it.
All right, thanks so much. I appreciate it. Okay, so this is the top of the Career Development Center's webpage, and our website is kutztown.edu/career center. It is different than the URL at the top. It's just the shortcut. So kutztown.edu/career center will get students and you to this page. As you kind of start scrolling down through the website, you'll start to see some of our main resources. And we're going to come back to Handshake because that is by far the biggest resource we have, and the one we use the most in our office. But I want to kind of talk through the other ones to make sure that you, as the family of students, know that they actually exist. Cooter Journey, the one off to the right, is a resource where students can take an assessment, a career assessment, a basic one, but a career assessment. So if your student is talking to you about major choice, and that, or they're coming and saying, this major is not for me, it's not what I thought it was going to be, major change, those are definitely things that we can help with in the Career Development Center and talk with students. But we would probably want them to take an assessment first, so we have somewhere a baseline to start with. What is their personality, that might be helpful to what jobs or what majors that they could choose. So Cooter Journey is that one. Going Global, the next one down, is for persons who are thinking of doing an internship, or full-time work abroad. So that one's a little bit later in life as in terms of a student. That's a great resource for those students wanting to work abroad. Candid Career, the next one to the left, is again one that I want you to make sure that you tell your student about if they are questioning their major, not sure of a major to choose if they're exploratory studies. And then the last piece of it is if they kind of have their major chosen, but they're kind of deciding between some careers. Candid Careers is a video library where students can go in, and frankly, watch informational interviews. Watching someone who is currently in the job describe what they do, how they got there, what they love about it, what they might not love about it. So it's just very great conversations about careers that are out there. Big Interview is a practice interview website, where you can go on, grab a bank of questions, and someone comes on your screen, answers you those interview questions, asks you the interview questions, and then you answer them via your video camera. So it's a really good learning tool because it is where they can then watch themselves interview or perform in an interview, and then they can send it to us and we can review it for them. So those are kind of the other ones that we have. But for Handshake, If a student clicks on this Handshake logo, it will take them to obviously our login page for Handshake, where they would log in. But for the purposes of the video, I need to switch my account into a student view so you can see what that is. Every student at Kutztown's campus has a Handshake login. It's just their typical Kutztown login that they use every day. And once they log in, then they will have the opportunity to search for jobs, look for different events that are happening both here on our campus as well as through employers. And I'll show you that a little bit. They have the opportunity to make an appointment with one of us here in the Career Development Center. They can upload their resume or their cover letter into the documents area so that we review it on our end. But I want to show you the job piece first, because this is probably the reason why we purchased it and brought it to the university. Students can search for full-time jobs, internships, part-time jobs, and on campus. So as a student begins to fill out their profile, it will start bringing them jobs. My dummy student is exploratory studies, and in the system as a freshman. So you're seeing a lot of student worker positions first. But if I would search as a full-time jobs, pretty much everything is going to come up, because again, my student is exploratory studies or undeclared. And you'll find that there are many types of positions out there, anything from something across the country to right here in Pennsylvania, to online jobs, to education jobs, just a lot of different things out there. And again, if my student would have narrowed down her job wants and needs, the feed would look a little bit different. Gail, does that make sense? Am I explaining that okay for you to understand?
Yes, and like, so say, like, my daughter happens to be a senior, if they want to look for something more specific, like, you could just add filters?
Yep, absolutely. Yep, for sure. You could definitely put in, so Gail, for example, do you have an idea of maybe one job title that your daughter would be interested in?
Yeah, like, she's in the cinema, TV, and media production major, so she wants to do like sound editing. So like,
Okay, great.
or
So
and working in any television studio, entry level. Yeah.
all right, well, let's look and see what comes up. Now, here's one thing that I want to tell you is that we are a Handshake school, right? So that means that our students can view job postings from anywhere that a school has a Handshake account. So let's say these positions in Odessa, Texas, or Charleston, South Carolina, those are there because they get to view all of the opportunities, because who's to say that a student only wants to stay around Pennsylvania? They may want to move to Irving, Texas, who knows? So you can get very specific with the filters that you have. You could have remote opportunities. You can choose by major. You can choose by employer preferences that are in there. So there's tons of things out there for students to, part-time jobs and full-time jobs, just part-time jobs. So I want to make sure that, like, there's an audio editor job training. Now, is it in Michigan? Yeah, absolutely. But you never know. I don't want someone to, there's a video editor. And you never, well, just look at that one right there. Remote, Boise, Idaho.
Yeah.
So there are definitely opportunities for all types of students. Actually, that Detroit, Michigan one said remote as well. So I want to make sure that your student plays around with this type of opportunity, with this kind of a search, because the more filters you add or the keywords that you enter, the less opportunities are going to come up, because again, it's just a computer, it's pulling an algorithm. And once you put in, I don't know, I'm going to put something else in. I'm just going to put counselor for me. Once I put in that keyword, only those keywords are going to pop up. So if the student wants to be very, very specific and have a remote type opportunity, then they would need to add in that filter. So the job piece of it is there. And again, the main reason why we have it. The next pieces are events. Obviously, we have our own events on here, but the student can also search by employer events, right? You know, if let's say, oh, here we go. Here's a great one. SUNY is having a graduate literacy virtual information session, and they've pushed it to us. Dominion Energy, they are having a diversity student conference. Maybe that's of interest. Maybe KPMG, from disability to ability. So I want to make sure that your student does take some time to go through and look at what is out there in terms of events from other schools. Like here's a job fair hosted by Cheney, which our students can attend. Here's some information sessions by an employer, you know, kind of on and on and on. So I want to make sure that a student knows that all of our stuff is at the top. And then the other schools and other employers come into play. If your student just wants to do some basic researching of who employers are, of what types of employers are out there. And frankly, if you look, there's 802,000 employers on Handshake right now. They could do some, you know, you can do some ideas of, you know, if you wanted to go into wildlife rehab, a foundation, though, again, you're using those keywords. So that's Handshake in kind of a nutshell. And again, Handshake is our most widely used resource. The second resource we have that a lot of students realize maybe a little too late are one-on-one counseling appointments. We want to make sure that, you know, y'all are paying the tuition for this. Come in and allow your student to have the time, you know, tell your student to allow themselves to have the time to come and talk about what they're thinking about, how we can help them, maybe give them some new ideas. I always joke with students and say, I can be the kick in your rear end that you might need, or I can be a helpful cheerleader. So depending upon where the student is, you know, we can get some ideas flowing or just start the process period, because it's not going to happen the day after graduation. It needs to start long before that. So, you know, Handshake resources, the student appointments that we host, we have tons of workshops that we host every semester on a lot of different topics. And then frankly, just being here and going out into classes is another piece of our outreach. So students are typically introduced to us when a faculty member brings us into class. I'm going into another one in about an hour. So knowing that I'm going to probably go meet a whole host of seniors, then probably in about 2 weeks, we'll start getting those seniors into appointments. So Gail, do you have any questions that you might want to leave for other parents to hear, or do you want me to close off the recording?
I think you're good to close off the recording. I don't have anything major. I think you did a great job.
Thanks. So for those of you that are watching the recording, Gail's going to ask her questions in private, and that's fine. She gets to do that because she was here. But I want you all to know that my email address is very simple. It's just Henry, Henry at kutztown.edu. So as a parent, if you want to shoot me an email, I'd be more than happy to talk to you a little bit more about what we have to offer. So let us know if you have anything, and Gail, stay online, and I'm going to shut the recording off. Bye, everybody.